Why can the same beat play over and over again and somehow it still feels good? Same rhythm, same melody, same loop. But instead of getting bored, your brain gets locked in. That's not an accident. That's design. Think about your favorite song. There's probably a section that repeats again and again and again. And instead of skipping it, you wait for it. You anticipate it. You want it to come back. So why doesn't repetition kill the experience? Why does it make it stronger? The answer lies in how your brain processes patterns. Your brain is constantly trying to predict what comes next. It looks for structure, order, familiarity, and when it finds a pattern, it locks onto it. Music uses this system perfectly. Repetition creates prediction. Prediction creates anticipation, and anticipation creates pleasure. When your brain correctly predicts what's coming next, it releases dopamine. That's why a repeated loop doesn't feel boring. It feels satisfying because your brain is winning the prediction game. Imagine hearing a beat for the first time. You don't fully understand it yet, but by the second or third loop, something clicks. Now you know where the kick lands, where the snare hits, where the rhythm resolves, and suddenly you're inside the music. This is called loop locking. Once your brain understands the pattern, it syncs with it. And when that happens, you stop listening passively. You start feeling it actively. Your head moves. Your timing adjusts. Your body aligns with the rhythm. But here's the key: too much repetition becomes boring. The little repetition becomes confusing. The best music sits in the middle. It repeats enough to feel familiar, but changes just enough to stay interesting. This is where great producers stand out. They don't change the whole loop. They make tiny adjustments, a slightly different hi-hat, a small pause, a variation in velocity. You might not consciously notice it, but your brain does, and that small change resets your attention. You're listening to a track, the loop plays again, but this time, a sound drops out for a split second, then comes back. That tiny gap creates tension, and when the loop returns, it hits harder. That's not randomness, that's control. Repetition also creates a trance-like state. Your brain stops overthinking, stops analyzing, and starts flowing with the rhythm. This is why repetitive music is used in clubs, workouts, meditation, even ancient rituals. Because repetition isn't just sound, it's a state. Now think about build-ups in music. The loop repeats over and over, building tension, and then suddenly, the drop hits. That moment feels powerful because your brain has been locked into repetition beforehand. Without repetition, the drop wouldn't feel the same. This is the hidden formula. Repetition builds familiarity. Familiarity builds anticipation. Anticipation builds emotion. And emotion is what makes music stick. That's why simple loops often outperform complex compositions, because they're easier for the brain to grab and harder to forget. So the next time you hear a loop repeat, don't think of it as repetition. Think of it as reinforcement. Each pass strengthens the connection between the music and your brain. That's why it doesn't get boring. That's why it feels addictive, because the more your brain understands the pattern, the more it wants to stay inside it. Repetition isn't lazy. Repetition is power.